Good morning. It is September 4th, and this week the initiation has to do with really being in stewardship of our resources. It is the night of Earth. The night part of an initiation is very much about a maturing cycle. It's about a moving from a place of learning to mastery. And so this week we might be finding that we have to actually really relate to ourselves as a master of stewardship, a master of process, a master of tangible, actual action steps. And so if we're feeling this pressure or this push or some discomfort around our current situation, this is the week where we mature. We step into the initiation, we apply our skills and tools, we acknowledge that we are new characters, we call ourselves the new character, and we relate to ourselves as if we have come to a level of mastery in this part of our life. And we get this opportunity every season. We get 4 opportunities to step into our mastery, and life gives us everything we need to move into these stages gracefully, even if we're feeling like, oh my gosh, there's still such a huge gap between what I would consider mastery and where I am. It doesn't matter. The level of mastery that you've achieved is the level of mastery that you've been called to in this part of the cycle. And so just having compassion during maturing initiations is also really important, because compassion is a part of maturity. I believe that we have life experiences that we would have previously judged so that we can come into greater compassion for that experience. So this is a time for facing our judgments around stewardship as well. Stewardship of time, energy, finances, stewardship around running our household, paying our bills, keeping our car clean, brushing our teeth or flossing or whatever. Like whatever the thing is around maintaining the physical life, that is what we're coming into maturity about. And the initiation pretty much says that this is sometimes this week can make us really feel wherever we're lacking. So traditionally, every single year during this week, no matter what my work situation is or what my finances look like, I always feel some sort of energetic pinch in the area of abundant resources. And I was thinking of years before, I had loans coming due. I wanted to step into new personal growth, and I didn't have enough money to pay up front for all of this. So I ended up borrowing money at one point during this cycle of the year. Even this year, I am like, okay, I really want to be really smart, like about the way that I'm purchasing groceries. I want to be buying more from Costco instead of Grubhub. Like I'm like doing this fine tuning of the way that I steward my resources, because I'm becoming a person who is very responsible with the flowing of currency. And so whatever my definition of responsibility is what I'm executing. So we all have our own definitions of what stewardship, responsibility, like abundance, we all get to define that for ourselves. But this is a week where the encouragement is to really lean in to any of the rub, really lean into those behaviors that will cultivate whatever you believe is responsibility. So, and it also encourages creativity. So because it's an earth sign, it's an opportunity for us to become very resourceful. So any kind of constriction we feel this week could actually press us into thinking out of the box. It could press us into creative endeavors that we never would have even done if we hadn't been uncomfortable. There's a meme going around that says, I can't even quote it, but it's something to the effect of, if I didn't make you uncomfortable, you would have never moved. And this is a week where we say, okay, I'm willing to step out. I'm willing to express differently. I'm willing to go into the learning curve. I'm willing to do the tangible things that it will take for me to open the box and move beyond the constriction that I'm feeling here, which will inevitably lead to a certain level of mastery. So that's where we're going. I can say that next week we step into the Queen of Earth and then the King of Earth. Those 2 weeks are definitely, one of them is the Queen is always going to be a week where we internally accept our mastery. We internally feel that receptive worthiness of this initiation. And then when we move into the King of Earth, we put that out into the world. It's like, yes, I have graduated. Yes, I have stepped into my mastery. Yes, I am relating to the world from this knowing that I have now. So just to give you some, timeline ideas for how these next 3 weeks are shaping up, and we're doing it during a Mercury retrograde this year. We're doing it while Venus has now just moved direct. We're doing it while Jupiter in an Earth sign is moving retrograde as well. So this is really, really, really going to be earthy this time. It's really going to have to do with moving your physical body, the kinds of foods and waters we're drinking, how much sleep we're getting, how we spend our money, how we're receiving money, what we're creating to serve the world, or what we're doing to serve our future financially. Like, it's going to be money. It's going to be food. It's going to be health. It's all that real earthy, tangible stuff. And usually the earth is what is a byproduct of all of the other energies. So earth is the slowest part of our perception to change. It is the outcome, it is the byproduct, it is the proof of everything that we valued on the other levels of perception. So on the fiery level of perception, that's where our passion can create transformation. On the airy side of perception, that's when we organize our thoughts, we get right with our beliefs, and we change our stories. On the emotional level, that is where we really feel the truth of the stories and beliefs that we have shifted. And the emotional level is actually what leverages us into changing the earth. Without the emotions, oftentimes we just have great ideas and amazing visions, but we don't actually get leverage on ourselves to move. And I've had a lot of conversations about leverage over the weekend, and I took so many notes. Leverage is essentially the thing that levers our physical world into change. And people are either levered by carrots, which are toward levers, or they're levered by sticks, which are away levers. The stick is pain, the carrot is pleasure. We would all love, and to a certain degree, we are all motivated by carrots. And carrots appeal to our soul, carrots appeal to our mind, and carrots appeal to our emotions. But the sticky part of this is sometimes our emotions would prefer the comfort and the safety of the known world more than the pleasure of the carrot. And so sometimes, even if a carrot is all so appealing, sometimes it takes, for the emotional body, it takes a stick, which would be the pain. It would be the fear of something even more painful than not changing, because change is scary for our emotions. Change is not comfortable sometimes. Moving matter sometimes doesn't feel great. Getting, like, whether it's exercising, doing the laundry, washing, whatever, doesn't matter. So our emotional body up to this point has probably to some degree been conditioned to only lever the physical world if it feels a fear of loss, if it feels a fear of more pain, if it feels a fear of the stick, essentially. And getting leverage through pain on ourselves is also sort of tricky, especially since we've all been designed to focus on what we want, focus on what we're trying to create, focus on the pleasure, focus on the future, focus on the vision. And when we focus on those things, we're really focusing on the carrot, and we're engaging our fire, we're engaging our mind, and to a degree, our emotions. And that can sometimes be enough. But for the really big changes, oftentimes getting a little leverage through pain on ourselves is kind of important. And I will share just one example from my own life when I actually found the value of pain as a lever or a teacher that I imposed on myself. Like that's the other thing about pain. We don't really want to be out of control of the painful situations levering us out of our situation. We don't want it to come from out of nowhere or from somebody else or from, a landlord or whatever. We would really love to be in control of our pain, because then we get to maintain our sovereignty and our power, right? So there is a way I learned, because I am just this way. I learned how to lever myself with emotional pain. And I did it at a seminar. I'm just going to give a shout out to Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins. I don't know if y'all know him or how you feel about him, but a few years back in 2018, which is when Uranus moved into Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign. I actually started levering the earth in 2018 when Uranus started pressing me to make sustainable changes in my earth life. So that's just to give you an astrological timeline. Here, he shared something called the Dickens process. And basically, we surfaced 3 beliefs that we had deep down in our systems that we were not aware that we had. And one of my beliefs was that I actually believed on an instinctual, subconscious level that men were evil. And I'm embarrassed to say that right now. I feel a little like, ooh, I'm so happy I don't feel that way anymore. But I lived unconsciously believing that until 2018. And it caused a slew of very interesting experiences for me, because I believed that I believed that men were evil. So it made me also fawn around men. I became flirtatious and charismatic and kind of like, whoo, because I believed that if this person's evil, but they like me, they won't hurt me. And I had no idea this was going on. I didn't understand why the anxiety would rise more and more the more that men were attracted to me, because I was flirting with them. Like, this was so insidious and weird, and I had so much anxiety about it. So here I am at this seminar. I discover that deep at the core, I had this belief. And then I was able to do this process that got leverage on myself. And basically, the process starts out with, think of all the pain that has caused you to believe this belief. So you think about your past. Then you think about, well, what would happen if you don't change this belief and you continue believing it for another 5 years? And then you take it out another 10 years. And you're moving deeper and deeper into the trajectory of this belief, continuing to play out and getting stronger and stronger as the years go by. And where I took it was that I passed this belief on to my daughter, and she ends up attracting actual evil into her life and getting hurt really, really bad. And I was on the floor at this point, screaming, like retching in agony and emotional agony, because I couldn't even imagine her taking on this belief and then creating more of that in her life to even a higher degree than I had ever experienced. And that was the most painful leverage I could have ever gotten on myself. And once I leveraged myself all the way into that like gutturally moaning pain, I was able to decide. I put a flag in the sand, and I decided, I am never believing this again. I believe instead that men are beautiful, and most men are amazing and great and beautiful and good. Most men, I decided to put in, and there will be some men or women that I need to become aware of. There's some, like, I'm not going to globally decide that's where I was at that time. So I've since understood that was the biggest leap I could take at that moment. And I've since changed some of my beliefs since then. But just to be, transparent with you where I was at that time, I decided most are actually good. And as soon as I shifted that belief through that pain and leverage globally into my system, the physical men that I'd encountered at that seminar suddenly appeared in my life again, and they were beautiful. They were good. They were supportive. It changed like that. And that is the power of leverage. And this week, we have an opportunity to get that kind of leverage on ourselves. And it's tricky. It's tricky to talk about this because we have been so trained in our manifestation formulas to only think about the positive aspects of manifestation, but we will never hack into the things that we're manifesting over and over and why we're manifesting those things over and over until we find the deeper global belief and get leverage on ourselves to change it. We've got to expand the pain to a certain degree over the course of 20 years, maybe even, in order for us to really understand the trajectory that deep unconscious belief is setting us upon. So this week, I highly invite us all to find some sort of leverage over ourselves in some tangible part of our life. And only you know what that area is. And only this is a conversation with your soul. I mean, this is never, we're in the season of Libra or of Virgo, and Virgo is the season of self-discernment, of sovereignty, connection of spirit and earth within a single body. I say single body because Virgo is the opposite of Pisces, and Virgo is a time where we are the most individuated from the whole. The path from Virgo to Pisces is moving back into community and oneness. But Virgo is a stage where if we don't fully accept our separateness, we will resist union with the other. So we've come all the way to our individuation with Virgo and continuing to acknowledge the power that we have over our individual life through our leverage, through our beliefs, through our own ability to create. That is what we're claiming. That's the mastery and the maturity that we have the opportunity to step into this week and next week and the week after. So now I'm going to go into the day by day. I actually have questions. Every day is a question. And if you follow me on Instagram, I actually created a graphic that lists each of the days with the emotion, a little bit of what's happening astrologically, and the question. So follow me on Instagram if you don't. That is, I think everyone here does. I don't know, Jennifer, if you're on Instagram, but anyways, that's at lunation.live. So now let's just go to Sunday. So Sunday, the moon is in Aries and Venus begins moving retrograde begins moving direct. After 40 days of retrograde, Venus is finally ready to step back into her heart, with all the things the heart has learned and shifted. And I talked earlier on this cycle that what we were experiencing was like a combination lock where the internal part of the lock was turning, while the external was also turning. One piece of the lock has now locked into place, and that's our heart. Our heart is now complete with its reorganization, with its re-understanding of what it values. And so the question simply for Sunday is, what did I learn about my heart? Finally, we can have some confidence in knowing that our heart knows what it knows. On Monday, today, Jupiter is stationing retrograde and the moon is in Taurus. This is a very earthy day. And the question I have for today is, what have I learned about stewardship? This is stewardship, not only in resources, but stewardship in our relationships, stewardship of our heart, stewardship of our life, essentially. Jupiter's been bringing stewardship to our attention all year, and now we're going to reflect on everything we've learned so far. Then on Tuesday, the moon will still be in Taurus, but it'll move into Gemini. And this is when we basically, if you were using this week to get leverage on yourself, this would be the week where we ask ourselves, what behaviors am I committed to now? If I have leveraged myself into a new state of behavior, what are the behaviors I've committed to now? And then on Wednesday, the Sun and Mercury will come into a Cazimi. They will come into the same space. Mercury's retrograding, the Sun is moving forward in Virgo. The moon will be in Gemini. It's a very mind, thoughtful, perceptive day. And it's also, I believe it's the final quarter square. So how have my beliefs and preferences changed? We also may be facing on this day some fears around the follow through of our commitment to behaviors. Black Moon Lilith is moving a degree. So there may be, like, we commit the day before, and now we might be facing fears around what we've committed to. So just be aware, if you're feeling some of those fears, this is a normal part of the cycle. It's built into the dynamics of how we're evolving, and it's natural to feel a little bit afraid to some level, afraid of how well you'll follow through with this new commitment. Then on Thursday, the moon will be in Gemini. The question for Thursday is, what do I learn when I follow through? What new information surfaces when I actually follow through with what I said I would follow through with? Then on Friday, the moon will move into Cancer. The sun will be trine to Jupiter. Jupiter is now retrograding. The sun is in, so we've got another earthy day, and earth and emotions. So when I talked about the leverage, Friday might be another day where our emotions help us to leverage the earth. And the question I have here is, what do I hear when I really slow down and listen? That's a key. I wouldn't have heard my subconscious belief about men if I hadn't been invited to slow down and listen with my emotional heart. Our emotions are so wise, and sometimes they have all the wisdom we need to get plenty of leverage on ourselves. Then on Saturday, what can I adjust toward more compassion? So the moon will be in Cancer. This is, again, what can I adjust in myself? Is it my passion? Is it my thoughts? Is it my emotional relating? Is it my physical life? What can I adjust toward even more compassion for myself? So that's Saturday. And yeah, it's just going to keep getting more dynamic. We're going to be moving into, I don't want to get too far ahead. For some reason, always in Virgo season, I very much am like, whoa, it's like I get a snapshot of everywhere we're about to go. I think it's because Virgo is at the very top of my chart, and it gives me this panoramic, like 360 mission-oriented view. And so it's when I come really deeply in alignment with my mission, purpose, my legacy, the way I want to drive the ship of my life, the way I want to receive, how I want to be. It's a very strong time. So, you may have noticed that I'm a little more like, rare. lately. And that's just my recipe. So we all have different recipes. And if you're feeling quite different, that's also completely native for you and valid and beautiful and perfect. So please, this is a compassionate week. And so I'm going to stop the recording so we can have our group conversation. And if you're watching this and you're not a part of the group, but you'd like to be, there's a link below for you to join. And in any case, I hope this is all serving you. Yeah, that's how I'm going to end it.